Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today we are going to be setting up my bullet journal for January. This month I decided to go with a quilt theme. I sped this up quite a bit because this was a very tedious process. It's very easy because it's just a series of squares and triangles, but it was very tedious, especially because I used a ruler for all of it. So basically I'm just doing this alternating pattern and doing that for the entirety of my quilt. And I decided to do this because I have recently got more into quilting and sewing. I'd like to do it more often, but with little kids it's hard because, I don't want them to get into the sewing machine or get hurt by anything. But I do love the look of quilts. I do think they are truly an art, and so I thought this would be a really fun theme. So the first two pages I'm making are my just cover page, and then I decided to make my habit tracker page next. I decided to opt out of drawing a calendar, like an overall calendar for this month. I've said in the past I don't really use those that often, and so kind of my version of the calendar are these little mini calendars that I'm using to track my habits. I did this same type of habit tracker setup in my bullet journal printables, which are available now. I will link them in the description box. They're a great deal. So if you are looking to get into bullet journaling, but you are not sure where to start, or you're not sure if you have the time to do something intricate like this, I got you covered. And that's why I created the bullet journal printables. So be sure to check those out. I have a whole first quarter bundle, which includes beginning of the year spreads, as well as January, February, and March spreads. So like I said, it is a steal of the deal. I'll stop promoting it now, but I just want you guys to know that I worked really hard on it, and it's something that I'm passionate about. I've always loved bullet journaling, so that's why I continue to do even extremely tedious spreads like this for myself. So then I just went in with my Tombows. I have the cottage set. I can put those in the description box as well. Basically, if you're wondering what I'm using for any of my supplies, I will have it linked, so that way you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, so I use the cottage set. I really like these ones. I love the colors, and I love the way Tombows work. I think they're a really wonderful writing utensil, if you will. So I basically went through and colored in all of these quilt pieces. This took me longer than I thought it would, to be honest, because I wanted to make sure that things looked balanced, and so it took me longer to choose where I was going to put what color, and then make sure that all of the colors were balanced. But I really like how it turned out. I think it turned out very fun and colorful, but I like how it's also pretty simple because it's contained within this kind of quilt area. And then I just colored in the January label. These are the quilt pieces at the top of the habit tracker page. Again, I just try to make these kind of unique, but also have balance while being next to each other. This is a really fun way to add color to a spread because it's very uniform, but then it also can be really creative, and there are a lot of different ways that you can approach the way that you want the spread to look. So I think that that's really fun. Like, you could do any color theme with this. You could also do kind of like a monochromatic with different shades of one color, which I think would look really, really cool. Okay, so moving on, my next two spreads, I haven't made these spreads in a long time in my bullet journal, but I kind of missed them, and so I thought it'd be fun to bring them back. So the first one on the left-hand side is the playlist, and then the other one is a January TBR, to be read. I decided to make a spot for a few songs. I haven't chosen which ones yet, but here I'll just write down kind of like what songs I'm really enjoying right now. This is always really fun to look back on because then I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was obsessed with that song. I've always really loved music, and so playlist spreads are just really fun. And then I decided to make a little TBR spread as well. I'm not going to stick to this super strictly. I honestly never stick to TBRs really strictly. I'm part mood reader, part whatever comes off hold at the library first, and so that kind of dictates a lot of my reading. But I think this is just like a cool place for me to write down what books I'm interested in for January, and then also just like, I can flip back to it in the future and see if there's any ones that I didn't read, like, oh yeah, I still want to really read that book. Let me see if it's available at the library, or if I have a gift card, maybe I'll go pick it up, or whatever the case may be. I just thought that it would be a fun addition this month, a little something different than what I have been doing recently. But I think that's also like the beauty of bullet journaling, is you can mix it up when things are feeling stale, add in new spreads, take away spreads, go back to spreads you did in the past, and I think that's always like a really fun way to keep your bullet journal fresh. We're back over to the playlist page. I honestly filmed this over a couple of different days because my kids have been sick and things have been really chaotic, and so I didn't remember that I was at the playlist page first, and so that's why I kind of jump back and forth. For these two pages, I decided to make the quilt pieces be in a pattern instead of them each being individual, honestly, mostly because it saved me a lot of time. So, you could do that if you prefer the pattern look. You could make all of them unique and individual like I did on the first page. Whatever works best for you is what you should do. But I did that same thing on the January TBR page. Just made a nice little pattern. It went by so much faster than the main page, but I think it still turned out really cute. And it still fits within the theme of quilting because, there are quilts that are just like completely random fabric that all looks different, and then there are also quilts that are a repeating pattern. So I didn't go completely off script for this. Okay, now we'll be moving on to my weekly spreads. I made a Dutch door. One side has video ideas at the top and the other has a video schedule, and then the individual pages are my weekly spreads. I decided to just outline the box completely instead of doing a drop shadow because I wanted it to be very fun and colorful. And then I made just two little quilt pieces on each side of the video ideas and video schedule box, just to kind of tie in that quilt theme without having to be too intricate and take up too much space on these pages, because honestly the weekly pages are mostly for functionality. So that's how this spread turned out. I honestly love this theme. I think this is one of the best themes I've done in quite a while. It really sparked a lot of joy with me. I had so much fun drawing it out. Even though it was tedious, it was honestly really relaxing to just have to draw all the lines and color things in. Let me know if you like this theme, and if you create it, make sure to tag me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!